Okay. I'm being a little
He's only
unfair with
coached
Chip
4
Kelly.
years. You're not going to ask every coach who's been there 4 years to.
I have a lot of respect for Chip Kelly. I will say this. But like, Carl, I've got a trivia question for you. Before the game against Auburn, how many field goals did Cade Foster miss this season?
I have no clue.
Just take a guess.
I'd say 1.
I think he missed 3 this year so
No,
far.
the answer was 1. Against
Good
Colorado State.
job, Noah. Good guess.
Cade Foster just couldn't show up that day. If he makes field goals, if he does what Cade Foster
I'm
normally
sorry,
does,
if you're missing a 57-yard field goal, that's not showing up. That's called 57 is a long field goal.
Cade Foster wasn't kicking that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, excuse me. You're right. He wasn't kicking that.
That was Andy.
And that
name.
that was a weird thing. Kind of, I wouldn't, ooh, never mind, actually. Hold that thought. Yeah, keep going.
There is no more keep going. It's a mic drop moment. The numbers do not lie. And you know what else? What other numbers don't lie? Third down conversions. Listen, the third down is when you decide, can you keep the ball? I think what's really more important is how successful you are on third down defensively. But moving on with college football, because again, there's a lot to talk about.
Really quickly.
Yes.
I just figured out all Alabama loses in the regular season when Cade Foster struggles. Because the game against LSU when they lost 9-6 in overtime, he went 1 for 4 kicking field goals.
Yeah, I know. I told you, Cade Foster is... When Cade Foster is not good, Alabama is somehow not good. Cade Foster is the answer to life. That's what we get out of this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next time you decide to get down your kicker and send him death threats over Twitter, you might think twice, because he seems to be able to control your football team.
I mean, but he's graduating, so they're gonna have to figure out what to do now without him. That'll be Saban's number 1 priority: finding a new kicker.
Oh, well, I don't know how busy he's trying to find a new kicker when he's trying to find a new house in Texas that I recently purchased, and he was spotted at a sushi restaurant in Austin. Saban Watch 2013 continues as we wait.
Love him to go to Texas.
Will Saban be in burnt orange? It should be interesting to see and how it could possibly turn Texas around. But continuing on.
He's probably there to go to Austin Community College. Football coach.
I actually think that's very likely. I think that seems like a good fit for those two parties.
Yeah,
he relishes the opportunity to be an underdog.
He really does, and then
he hasn't gotten a lot of chances to do that.
No, he doesn't. Nick Saban kind of ruins his own dream in that sense. Speaking of dreams being ruined, Jordan Lynch, no, come on. This was supposed to be your Cinderella moment. It turns out the shoe doesn't fit because Bowling Green took a sledgehammer, took that shoe, and just threw it on the ground. And to make sure it was all shattered, they took the sledgehammer and hit it repeatedly. About 47 times, one for every point they scored in that game. So much for hashtag Lights Camera Match, and thanks a lot, Bowling Green. They just cost Mac.
Here's the question: how did they know that
was
fit
very...
if they smashed it before he got the chance?
They had to make sure. Did you ever read the size, Noah? How do you find shoes that fit you?
They check the size. It's like a shoe store. They just were walking in a shoe store.
Do you just go around and hit all the shoes and say, "Oh, I couldn't smash this one. It must fit me"?
That is the greatest analogy we've ever had on the show.
Also, why is Jordan Lynch wearing golden slippers?
Who said they were golden?
Diamond.
They're glass. Walt Disney is rolling in his grave. Well, he would be if they didn't freeze his head and keep it in the studio. Just kidding. We aren't conspirators on Rookies Roundup. Unless it's Timothy the Pigeon. Oh my god. Does anyone remember Timothy the Pigeon?
No.
Carl, you should remember this especially. When Oregon found that pigeon that kept showing up to their practice and just watched them the whole time. So they took him and named him Timothy.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Nick Saban has the spy pigeon.
It wasn't the most recent thing.
I don't care. The conspiracies are still there. The Illuminati aren't that recent, but they're still among us. Kidding. Again. This is the definition of late night.
The pigeon's the leader of the Illuminati.
Oh my god. Okay, we have to get back on track.
So, Jake, I just want to say something. So, like Seth Meyers is moving to where Jimmy Fallon is on late, and because Jimmy Fallon's moving on to the main spot. It's like that's how.
Yeah, I know, because
after Seth Meyers, you're gonna fill in for Seth Meyers and go into that chain. That's how good you are at late night television.
but this is radio. What am I supposed to do? Cecily Strong is great at what she does. But by the way, can we just have a round of applause that Jay Leno is finally off air? Or as I like to call it, it's the Late in the Show with Jay Leno's chin, guest starring Jay Leno.
Oh, that was bad.
Oh, come on. Fine, I'll stick with the analogies. I kid Jay Leno and his chin. I would be lucky.
Cricket sound effect.
I'd be lucky to be half as successful as he was. So no disrespect to Jay Leno. And he made Kanye West cry. So actually, I take that back, Jay Leno. I like you. You know who else I like? Jordan Lynch. And I do not like Bowling Green. Bowling Green cost the MAC $14.28 million by winning that game.
Well, aren't they selfish for trying to win a game?
So if you could compare Jordan Lynch to any other college quarterback who have ever played the game, who would it be? Carl, you talked to me about this earlier this week.
I made a joke about it.
No, but it was good. It was true.
I made a reference to Tim Tebow.
No, you made a reference to Case Keenum.
Oh, I never made a reference to Case. Oh, I did make a reference to Case Keenum. I made a reference to Case Keenum saying he's trying to pull the Case Keenum by making it all the way through an undefeated regular season, about to make a BCS bowl, and then deciding, that sounds too hard, and losing his final game, also losing his Heisman chances.
But
Same
hey,
thing, Case Keenum.
If he wins, he might get a bunch of free pizzas. He joins the ranks of other failed Cinderellas, except for Andy. Andy Dalton is the only one who has had that slipper fit, so congratulations to Andy Dalton. Meanwhile,
Andy Dalton had the slipper fit, and then he just kind of kept it on his foot.
As opposed to taking it off?
It's hard to play when you have glass slippers. They weigh you down.
Oh, it's kind of easy, though, when you're playing Scott Tolzien. Okay, that is... No. I'm still too bitter. When you travel halfway across the country and you find out that Scott Tolzien is going to be your quarterback, it's a little disappointing, and I'm still bitter. Jameis Winston, of course, first of all, can we just talk about what NBC Sports Radio tweeted out? This is the worst way to handle this piece of news. NBC Sports tweeted out, first of all, I'm all for good puns, but at some point you need to stop. NBC Sports Radio needed to stop. But they kept going. Here is what they tweeted. Confirmed. Jameis Winston gives the Heisman stiff arm to the allegations against him of sexual assault. He will not be charged. NBC Sports Radio. No. You don't do that. Guys, would this be possibly the most tasteless athletic tweet we have seen from an actual channel?
Yeah. I mean, that's just kind of stupid, but hey, if it's not ESPN, they're going to do something to try to get some of the attention away from ESPN.
Well, Ron Burgundy got to go into a damn practice. But anyway, now that Jameis Winston really looks to have locked up Heisman, the question is, who gets second place in the Heisman vote? I say Trey Mason. He's been on fire. And he kept it up tonight, over 300 yards and 4 TDs.
Can I bring up a stat from the game tonight, Jake?
Sure, you can always bring up a stat.
Tonight, Trey Mason, he had a very special night. So James Franklin had a pretty good game, not a great game, but he was pretty solid. 303 yards passing. Trey Mason had 304 yards rushing. Trey Mason had a better game than basically the rest of the world. This was maybe the best rushing game I have ever seen. It's up there.
Oh, Andre Williams is scoffing at you right now.
It's up there, I said.
Noah, what do you think?
I would go with Trey Mason as well. He is one of the big reasons why they are most likely headed to a BCS national championship, and you haven't been able to stop him. You try everything you possibly can, and then he guts it up right up the middle for touchdowns every other run.
He has led the charge on this team. I think. I mean, it's incredible to watch them make this comeback, and now that they're going to get this chance to win a national championship. Moving on.
Jake, I hate to play devil's advocate, but I was looking at ESPN's Heisman poll, and they've got the 16 experts who actually have Heisman votes voting for this, and not a single vote, even first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, was placed for Trey Mason last week. So it's going to take a very big swing for him to get there.
Well, you know what? The way he played definitely warrants a big swing.
Big swing, exactly.
So,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Here we go. The question here now, as BCS countdown nears, you're going to have 4 teams likely going for 2 at-large spots in the BCS. Oregon, Clemson, and the Oklahoma schools. Who are the 2 teams that do not make it, and why?
Double Oklahoma.
Double Oklahoma. That sounds like a Peyton Manning audible.
No, I'll agree with that.
Anyone? I told you this could go horribly wrong.
Double Oklahoma does not make it.
Double and pourquoi?
Because I think we brought it up earlier in the bowl predictions. Clemson makes it because they're playing the Orange Bowl and they're ranked higher. Oregon, 1, most likely will be ranked higher than both. It's sketchy on whether they will be. 2, the nation wants to see Oregon, Bama. So I think that's more of a likely scenario, and I've said that before in the bowl predictions earlier.
If I had it my way, Oklahoma would be in a BCS bowl. However, because of, geographic convenience and ticket sales, the way this is going to go down, I think you're right. Double Oklahoma is not going to make it. No, what about you?
If I had my way, Ohio State would still be in
Oh,
the
well,
national
yeah.
championship.
Well, if I had it my way, UCLA wouldn't be stuck in the Sun Bowl or the Holiday Bowl in Qualcomm. You know what Qualcomm is? We need to get somebody on making fun of Qualcomm.
If I had it my way, Scott Tolzien would never have been quarterback.
Amen.
If I had it my way, every single team in the if I'm my way, the Vikings would have Scott Tolzien just because he'd probably be better than the quarterbacks they have right now.
Probably.
He would not match up with Matt Castle's beard.
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
Yeah,
It wouldn't match up.
But nobody can touch that mustache that Aaron Rodgers is going.
It's a bloated caterpillar on his upper lip.
He just can't get it off. It's stuck.
And it should stay there forever and ever and ever.
But when it crystallizes and cocoon becomes it goes into its cocoon, what happens then?
It turns into a clip from Bug's Life. I'm a beautiful butterfly.
It'll just look like a crusty little thing on top of his mouth.
Speaking of crusty little things, Nick Saban recently. I kid, Nick Saban. I'm sorry. I had to make a segue, but it really fell through short. But speaking of falling through short, Oklahoma State, and we're back on track. Oklahoma State struggled today, lost by 9 after coughing up the lead. What do you think happened?
Ooh. Oh, well, we should say that the 9-point win is not really true. It was a 3-point win, and then on the final play, Oklahoma State was trying to lateral a bunch, and they kind of lost it.
Yeah, they obviously have never practiced lateraling, because it was a bad lateraling performance.
Yeah.
Number one thing, find good lateraling players for it next season.
So Nick Saban's going to get... Okay, Alabama needs a kicker. Oklahoma State needs players who are good at lateraling. Is that what we've got so far?
Pretty much. I think Lene Kakua would suffice at both of those things.
Wait, so a kicker who can lateral well?
A kicker who can lateral well.
Oh my god.
Hey, Oklahoma State's kicker caught a touchdown today. So, Oklahoma's kicker, he caught a touchdown, and he also kicked a field goal in an earthquake.
Why wasn't he in there lateraling the ball at the end? That's the question everybody's asking.
It's really true. This is the real trap. This is the real stuff you won't hear on ESPN.
Yeah, they're not telling you everything. They're lying to you.
No,
We have the inside scoop.
Yeah, they're too mainstream.
We promise the SEC is not paying us anything.
We promise you. Trust me. We don't want. Well, I mean, if they paid us, if they paid us, I wouldn't say no. But
Nick Saban is still at Alabama after this year. He will announce that he has signed a new kicker, or he has recruited a new kicker then now they're going to win a national championship again.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Cade